Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pop Art Hunter channel. Today we're going to be looking at a few pieces of my collection from the movie The Lion King. Here are some concept art pieces that we'll take a closer look at in a moment, but I have a few pieces from The Lion King. We're going to take a look at a few today. I have another piece that'll probably be in a separate video just because it's a larger piece and more drawings, but let's go ahead and get started. A few really cool pieces here. Two different frames. Several different pieces of artwork here. These are Scar, and I've done this with a few of my, especially my Disney animations, where I'll put the name of the character and then some of the artwork from that film. I just like the way this looks. It kind of, I don't know, it just looks nice in my home, and it sort of gives some context if people don't recognize it right away. These particular pieces of concept art feature Scar, kind of yelling and snarling, kind of getting more and more upset, maybe pouncing. And I don't think these are from the same sequence, but I kind of frame them in a way like, oh, I'm so upset, I'm really mad, I'm gonna pounce at you. And so I tried to set it up in that sort of format. And then also I have these two, and these are the three hyenas. I like this one. This was the first piece I bought because it seemed very stylized. Even if it wasn't authentic from the movie, it just has a really cool stylized look to it. And then you have, getting punched, the Whoopi Goldberg character. There's Shinzi, Banzai, Shinzi, and Ed, I believe. So there's Shinzi, and I can't tell if this is Ed or Banzai, but getting punched there. Now, the cool thing about these pieces, so these are concept art pieces from the story creation process of The Lion King. And documentation I received for it was a printed certificate of authenticity from the seller, which is essentially a piece of paper, unless it has anything behind it. It was very much like word art type printed thing. And so, when you look at that, you get a little nervous. I bought them on a chance to ensure that I owned a piece of this for a decent price if they were legitimate, and took that risk of maybe knowing that they weren't real. So what did I do after I purchased them? I wanted to try some sort of provenance to see whether or not these things were legitimate. And so what I did is I have this art of the Lion King book, which I purchased, and actually came a little bit damaged. Actually, no, I received this as a gift, but it had a little bit of damage to it. And I went through the book and I kind of looked at some of the artwork they had. And some of these drawings kind of look similar to the type of style that these Scar ones were. And I thought, okay, these kind of look cool. And then I went a little bit further and I noticed that these particular pieces looked really similar, in my opinion. The line work, the shading, these parts have great density with the graphite, and then a little bit lighter with some of the shading, and just the way the lines filled in and moved, and filling in the nose there. I think that this has got to be the artist who did this, if they did it. So in the book, it tells me that the artists of these sketches, these two here, were Kevin Harkey. And so I did a little of investigative journalism. I looked up Kevin Harkey, and I emailed him, and I said, "Good day, sir. Would you please tell me, did you do these? I don't want to waste your time, but if you wouldn't mind taking a look." And he took a look, and he's like, "Yeah, those aren't mine. They kind of look like they're Larry's." Larry Lecker. And then he also told me, he's like, maybe you want to reach out to Brenda Chapman, who is the head of story for The Lion King when the movie was made. And so I reached out to Brenda and Larry. Brenda said they kind of looked like Larry, and Larry Lecker replied to me, and he said, "Yeah, those are definitely mine." And so that was a way to add a little bit of provenance to the pieces, actually talking with the artist or chatting with him and saying, "Can you verify these?" And he did. He said, "Yep, those are mine." And so it adds credence to not only these particular pieces, but other pieces, if I were to purchase from that other seller again, that they have a little bit of legitimacy to this. Because, really, these are done in a way, they're cool in what they're worth and they're done nicely, but somebody could reproduce these. It's just small pieces of paper. Now, one of the things about these that makes them a little bit more authentic, which you can replicate these things, but sometimes forgers they do pieces that are really, really expensive, so they can make a profit on them, or they do pieces that are really, really well composited, but they're easy to produce. And one of the things about these pieces, is that you have some other drawings on the back to kind of show you of whether or not, it kind of shows you that they were sketching something out and it wasn't quite right, and so they flipped it over and said, we're going to try this again. Also, a lot of these pieces on these have little pinhole marks in the back of them to show you that they hung them up on the board. And and you can take a stick pin, you can stick it in some paper, and you can forge that. But again, some of that stuff is those are details that for a piece of artwork like this, this isn't something that's going to be selling for $10,000 or something like that. And so it's something that I feel as though adds some legitimacy to it as well when you look at all those little details. So these are really early concept storyboard art pieces that would have been used to try to formulate the story and figure out what the characters were going to be like and figure out how the things were going to flow together. And these are really cool pieces, and I have them framed, one, to show you the framing setup of how they look and how I chose to present them, but also to show you, a type of animation art. It might be that you start out collecting concept art. It might be cheaper. Sometimes it's more expensive depending on the movie that it's from. But instead of purchasing a cell from a movie necessarily, you might be able to start with a concept art or, a sketch that was used to create the cells, or the cell themselves in between there, the limited edition Serious Cell stuff. So you can grow and transition as part of your collection. Now, these I actually love, and I value them more. Probably personally, they're probably not worth as much, but I value them more personally because I have a little bit of the backstory to it. I was able to contact the artist who created some of these, and they confirm that it's their artwork, and it makes you feel more connected to it. You have that provenance of them being the correct, authentic pieces, but also a little bit of a backstory that you can tell people when they're looking at your collection. You'll be like, oh yeah, I chatted with the artist about this, and they told me it was theirs, and that's really cool, and they were part of this. So I really like these pieces. I have a couple more Lion King pieces in my collection. One particular we'll show you in a future video with one of my favorite characters, comic relief. His name is Pumbaa. He's a big pig. You could be a big pig too. Hey, so thanks for watching the Pop Art Hunter channel, and we will see you next time.